This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good looking friends. The Sun UK has done an article in the paper regarding the Sussex Squad. Now, I will guess that it won't get any kind of airtime here in the United States, so here's where I'll step in. So, today this article came out and it's pretty deep, exposing the Sussex Squad. I know back in 2020 they tried to expose them, but no one was really paying attention. But I think now is a special time, and I do feel that the dam is about to burst. In this article written by Grace Mockasil, she calls out the Sussex Squad being the primary source of targeting Princess Catherine during this very sensitive time with her cancer diagnosis. In this article, she writes, their campaign of hate began when they peddled sick conspiracy theories around Kate's abdominal surgery, claiming she was the victim of domestic violence, was in the middle of a divorce from Prince William, or hiding away after plastic surgery. Even when the princess last week bravely told the world she is undergoing chemotherapy, the cyberbullies claimed her video was AI generated. Behind some of the worst trolling is a group using the hashtag Sussex Squad, who have made outlandish claims about Kate in defense of their heroine, the Duchess of Sussex. There is no suggestion the group of trolls are endorsed by the Sussexes. Oh, really? We'll get back to debunking that in a second, but let me just read a little bit more of this article. But I highly suggest you read the whole thing, and I'll link it below. Their chief cheerleader is U.S. tech entrepreneur Christopher Boozy, who appeared on the Sussexes' Netflix documentary Harry and Meghan to call out online hate in which they defame Samantha Markle. No, that's not a part of the article. I just added that because that's true. When it was announced in January that the princess was undergoing surgery, he posted a video of a gymnast doing backflips captioned, Kate Middleton this weekend. The self-proclaimed Sussex Squad claims the Sun exclusive video of Kate visiting a farm shop of Windsor features a body double or look-alike. Folks, we know that this was going on, and the rest of the article talks about the horrible things that these vicious human beings were doing over here in the United States, such as doxing, threatening people, harassing family members. I mean, we know what happened. We lived through it, so we could actually testify to that is accurate. You see, the thing that's missing from this article is acknowledging that this harassment of Princess Catherine and Prince William has been going on for years. This is not the first campaign that the Sussex Squad has executed on these two royals. It does appear to me, as I'm looking online, that there is a shift in sentiment on how the UK media is going to be talking about what happened to Catherine. And I do believe that the Sussex Squad is under fire right now. And what way to add to that fire is all this evidence that all of us who have been bullied, who have been harassed, threatened, demonetized, censored, have been sitting on. And I think now, since the world is watching, would be an excellent time to get this party restarted. So here's what I'm going to do to kick this off is to just remind everyone how supportive Meghan and Harry are of their squaddies and take a trip down memory lane with one of the all-star sugars, Angry Tina, from the Sussex Squad podcast. It does appear that the media is aware of Angry Tina as well as her co-pilot, Misinformation Michelle, so maybe they will be doing more articles in the future. Take a listen to Angry Tina, backed by Sunshine Sachs, had to say on previous podcasts.
She had to leave for herself. I mean, the Meghan that we see now and the Meghan who was in the royal family is two different Meghan. The Meghan that we see now is the Meghan that I came to know when she was on Suits, when she did the TIG. That's the Meghan that I am aware of. The Meghan that we saw in the royal family was a totally different person. It's not that she's not saying our pushback hasn't been successful. Actually, it's been very successful. That's why you're seeing the concerted effort to deplatform myself and Michelle or any other Success Squad person is being successful. And we know that part of the Royal Rotor are part of that whole process and that they're courtiers in Megxit. We know that for a fact. The fact that Megxit was called Megxit when it happened, the name Megxit had been around. It's a terrorist organization on Twitter. It's been around a long time. They're there to abuse Harry and Meghan. They've been there. And the British press deciding to call it Megxit and then everyone picking up the name tells you everything that you need to know. But it doesn't, I'll push back as being successful. The reason why the British press, even Max Foster, who is on CNN, calls the Success Squad, oh, we're so mean, we're horrible, we're this and that, is because we are able to push back. They've never seen anything like this. When they talk, we pull out receipts, right? When they say one thing or the other, we drag them. We don't just drag them like just to drag them, but we literally say, is this you? They want to silence us. Yes, they do want to silence us. That's why we get a lot of people reporting our podcast. It's so funny when YouTube contacts and say, hey, so a lot of people are reporting your podcast. What should we make of it? I was like, oh, just go to this point, and listen to what we said. That's probably what they're reporting, but it's not abusive or anything. And they're like, okay, well, we'll just monetize your podcast back. So like either way, they just will remonetize our podcast back. So it's ridiculous. I don't care. Anyway, TC, is there any last comments on, we have 1,300 people listening to this podcast. That's probably the most people at one point listening to this podcast. If you've not hit the thumbs up button or the thumbs down button, go ahead and hit it. If you're a deranger, I'm sure that you're reporting us to YouTube. Do your best, do your worst. It's okay. It doesn't matter. We're still going to have a platform. Keep reporting us. Okay, so I just want to kind of stop here and just let people know, hey, go ahead and hit the like or dislike button. If you're reporting us to YouTube, go ahead and do all of that. That's fine. We also have a mechanism of talking to YouTube, just like you guys do, probably a better mechanism than you do, but that's fine. Clarify, at some point, and Meghan and Harry have made very clear that it's not that they don't want any critical media. They believe in freedom of the press to report and to convey information to people. They believe in that. But what they don't agree with is abusive media, so there might be situations where people are using information from the British press, and we disagree with that. And that's why there's certain things in the British press, certain people like Camilla Tamani being on my TV screen should never happen, or Angela Levin being on my TV screen should never happen. Robert Jobson, who basically at this point is at the point of basically saying Harry needs to be strapped down and they need to drain the royal blood out of his body, kind of thing. That's like those types of people, like literally wants to take Harry out of the line of succession. And there's just all these conversations, and those people should never be given a platform. And we should fight against that. There are going to be some stories where they're going to need people like Royonika or Victoria Arbiter. I can't stand them, right? But if something happens with Harry and Meghan, there's going to be situations where they're going to ask those people to get the palace view on it. Is it right? Is it wrong? Blah, blah, blah. No. But we have to understand balanced reporting. We have to understand that there are going to be situations where, as much as we don't like the reporting, it needs to be reported. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. It just means that the network needs to do its job. Now, that said, a lot of networks, we saw that in the last 4 years of this country, where we as a country consumed dangerous information from everyone. Yes, everyone blames Fox News, but we saw it on CNN every night, every day, all day. They were putting this person in our TV screen. And even though they might have said something, like they might have been shady towards him, but as a journalist, you shouldn't have that opinion. You should be able to separate fact from fiction and fact from opinions. And we got the Anderson Coopers, and I love Anderson, by the way. I love Chris Como. I think he's daddy, like daddy kind of guy, like really. But anyway, I like all these people, but at the end of the day, we were fed a diet of the orange nightmare every day. And whether they liked it or not, they inculcated people into him. And so I'm saying all that to say that opposing media doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing. It needs to be balanced. And in saying that, it means that somebody like Angela Levin should not be given a platform to push conspiracy theory about Meghan. Because when you see her on TV, she is not speaking from a journalistic standpoint. She is speaking from a conspiracy theory from a terrorist group that she is a part of to abuse and given a platform. Those people we need to take down. But when you see the Victoria Arbiter, she's disgusting. Victoria Arbiter is probably one of the worst people on TV. And you know how she became part of TV? Through Oprah Winfrey. Did you know that, TC?
I did not know that. I don't know Victoria Arbiter personally, so I know of her, but I've seen some of the things she's written, but no, I did not know that Oprah had anything to do with that.
So Victoria Arbiter was trying to make it in the U.S. She married an American, and she was trying to make it in the U.S., and she could not make it in the U.S. And so Victoria Arbiter put in for this show on Oprah Winfrey that is the worst cook in America, right? And so she was featured on that show.
That's actually a Food Network show. That's not,
something
not like Oprah. That. Yeah, that's a whole different channel.
Yeah, the BBC then also brings on Angela Levin, who is a racist, and they're like a self-avowed racist that peddles in conspiracy theory. So maybe that gold standard is going away because they literally let this person unchallenged come on the BBC and say all of these things, that Meghan is holding Harry hostage, Meghan faked her bump, Meghan is only trying to make money. Like all this stuff on BBC. So BBC is no longer the gold standard as far as I'm concerned. They are also the same one who had a reporter who depicted Archie as a chimpanzee. They fired him and then they rehired the same person back. Is also the BBC that allowed the racist thing where Meghan was portrayed as an angry Black woman who is wielding a knife to kill Kate Middleton in a puppet show. Where I told you guys this, like, you don't stand in your light. You don't need anyone to bring you into the darkness with their nonsense. And I need to learn that myself, because there are times where I go after people online.
Asking, should we contact the show's sponsors? If necessary, yes. I think your first line of defense is to contact the show itself, going to their executive producers, their booking producers, segment producers, and if they do not listen, if they choose not to pull certain people or certain segments from their show, that's when you go to their sponsors. Because if you need to hit them with in the pocketbook, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we can do more. We can get more done by going back to the shows. So those who want to volunteer to help get this going, we need letters that we need to write and everything. Please contact me. We need to get this going. We need to get the people like Camilla Tamani off the screen, Robert Jobson, Angela Levin. Those types of people need to get off American TV. We can do that. If the networks wouldn't do it, then we need to go after their sponsors. So it's a gradual process, but we need a group of dedicated members of the squad who are willing to work on this and to help push it. It cannot be on myself and Michelle. We can't do it alone. We run a podcast. We keep our minds open on every other thing that's going on. So you can't expect us to do everything. So we need help. To help make this happen. And we need to come together. We need to organize. We can't sit there and complain. You may not trust Oprah, but we are here for Harry and Meghan. Harry and Meghan trust Oprah. That's it. That's all I need to hear. I don't want to hear anything else that you have with Oprah. I don't care. Like Harry and Meghan trust Oprah. Okay, that's it. We're here to support Harry and Meghan. I'm not here to tell them who they're supposed to trust and why I'm worried about blah, 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 because I don't trust this person. That's not my problem. They chose to go with Oprah, and we're going to support. I don't know anything about Hub Community Kitchen. It's not part of the royal family. It's never been. It was just something that Meghan worked with. And under the work that Meghan did, it fell under the Royal Foundation. They're no longer under the Royal Foundation. It's a separate organization on its own. Meghan has never given them access to her. They don't know anything about her personal relationships with people. They don't know how many times she's met Oprah. They don't know how many times she's talked to Oprah. They don't know what Doria's relationship with Oprah, none of that stuff. So when they keep saying that, like Oprah met her once before coming to the wedding, those are not based on facts. These are based on made up information that they think they have. They don't know this. They have no connection to Oprah, and they don't have any connection to Meghan. They don't have any inner workings to Meghan. They don't have any inner workings to Oprah. So the only way that they would know this information is to make it up. Okay? Is to make, again, it goes back to that narrative of Harry and Meghan. They don't know Harry and Meghan. And specifically Meghan, because Meghan has made it very clear that she will not deal with people who are going to abuse her. Let's not, the whole point of everything that we're saying, the Queen took the patronages and the military honors. I'm happy she did. Okay, I know Harry doesn't like it, but he's going to have to get over it. That's why I talked about the fact that there are lots of military organizations here in the U.S. He has great connection with the current president of the United States, the former president of the United States, and a group of people. And if he needs to know more, Harry, have your people contact my people, and I can link you up with military organizations that you can do so much more with, but you don't need me. Anyway, oh yeah, and I hope that people don't think that you are. I mean, like, we are literally, just having conversations and stuff. They learn that, but that's what they wanted to do. They wanted Harry to leave his wife and come back. Everything that they did, it would terminate Megxit. This is a racist terrorist group online. Focus. They've literally sent somebody to physically harass and attack Meghan. Okay? And there's been history of Harry wanting to leave the royal family for so many years. And we have videos on videos on videos of Harry talking about not wanting to be part of this family for many years. So basically, when Meghan shows up, she came with an army of people who are educated, who know to cut through bullshit every time. The palace PR could not adjust to that. They thought it was business as usual. And it is evident by the statement from Buckingham Palace on Friday that they still have not learned that when Meghan came, she came with a different breed of people. She came with Black women, brown women, people who are more global, who don't believe in monarchies in the 21st century. She came with Americans who fought King George III for independence and to reject everything that the monarchy was all about. Meghan came to that family with more service in her bag than any member of that family has ever except Harry. And I don't even want to say his name, but except Harry, because Harry has served in the military for 10 years. And he has fought in a war on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen twice. And to be taken for his royal patronages, and don't get me wrong, I'm not upset that they took the patronages and the military titles. I know Harry's upset. Granted, I understand that William is a terrible person, and I believe he's truly terrible. But you cannot continue to manipulate somebody for 70 years. At some point, you have to realize that this is who they are. And in the case of Harry and Meghan, let's take Diana out of it. She should have learned from Diana what happened with Diana and how she almost lost control of her monarchy when Diana died, because people blamed her, and rightly so. And they were able to turn it around. You know how they were able to turn it around? By having those two boys walk behind their mother's coffin in front of 2 billion people. That's the only saving grace, because they knew that they had to put those boys behind their mother's coffin, and people would not boo the monarchy, would not yell and throw stuff at Charles and Prince Philip. She has been terrible from birth. She does not know what it's like to be empathetic, to show compassion, to show anything that involves showing people that you're human. She is awful. I understand that people respect her. Great. But for me, what has she done? I've asked this on this podcast many times. What is it that is earth-shattering that this woman has done that earns her the respect that people give to her? What exactly has she done? She's always been very quiet about everything. She never knows when anything happens. It's always somebody else's fault. What exactly has she done to change the tide and things happening? She's never done anything. She is patently, inherently awful. Michelle, you're going to say something?
Yeah. I actually 100% obviously agree with Tina here. For me, I kind of go back to what TC said in terms of the Queen being, I believe she was 25 or 26 when she became Queen.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah.
And so it was supposed to be a big change. And I think that's what's disappointing.
I'm going to say it. I know, Harry, please don't listen to this podcast. I'm sorry. It's Tina saying this, not anybody else. Any person who can put a 12-year-old boy behind the coffin of his mother and make him walk so that walk will protect a monarchy, not the boy, not his brother, but her, tells me she does not love him. And that's the part that I cannot reconcile in my mind.
You're such a fraud.